Okay, thank you everyone for being here. Millions of racing fans worldwide attend Formula One racing events, standing as it does at the technological peak of all motorsports events. Not only will the upcoming May 6th inaugural Miami Grand Prix draw most of the international racing world's best drivers, but it will also bring the best automotive designers, engineers, engine builders, and racing teams to our wonderful Miami community. This unique vision of Chairman Jose Pepe Diaz, who worked with Miami Dolphins owner Steve Ross, has made that vision come to our community, brought it to fruition, and made it a reality. And by the way, Chairman Jose Diaz was one of the first community leaders to help us fight human trafficking in our community. And I'm also happy to say that he has visited our one-of-a-kind Human Trafficking Center and supports our ongoing initiatives. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also want to thank our mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, who has met with us and is entirely supporting our awareness campaign. And she's out of the country. She wanted to be here, but she's very well represented by our manager, Jimmy Morales, and of course, the former director, Freddie Ramirez. I don't know what your new title is, but whatever it is, it's good and it's big. And we're glad you're here. So let me show you part of what the world will see. The track design blends the Hard Rock Stadium and portions of our wonderful Miami Gardens. And you should look up there. Oh, Bobby, yes, thank you. It's so good to see you here, by the way. If you can see up there, it really doesn't capture it completely, but it gives you some idea of the magnitude of what this racetrack is going to look like. And that is the picture that will stay in the minds of residents, tourists, and international visitors for years to come, particularly given that the racetrack runs, this is the great news for our community, for the next 10 years. Good job. However, there are always individuals who often see sporting events like the Miami Grand Prix as an opportunity to make illegal money by selling and exploiting the lives and the bodies of our young people to the highest bidders. These individuals are human traffickers, and many of our survivors who've been rescued from this exploitation have told us how the increased tourism so often is connected to these kinds of events. They are viewed by traffickers as opportunities to make big money. Remember, you've heard me say this before, human trafficking is a $150 billion industry, worldwide industry. It's a $32 billion industry in the United States alone. So, when it was determined that Formula One would be coming to Miami, it was somewhat reminiscent of another large sporting event that occurred around 2 years ago, we all know as the Miami Super Bowl. As you may recall, our community rallied together with a community-wide Human Trafficking Awareness Campaign. Almost everyone in this room, and many others beyond this room, were part of that community-wide campaign. The NFL local host suggested to the Formula One managers that they reach out to me, my office, and all of you, all of our community partners, to somewhat replicate our past successes. So that's what we've done. We are here to announce that our community, Miami-Dade community, will not sit by and passively let such crimes happen. That is why we are all here today. All of us are united in the fight against human trafficking. We have been, and we will continue to be. We work diligently with each other. We collaborate with our non-for-profits and with our victims and our survivors. I have a list. I'm going to go through it very quickly because they deserve to be recognized. Not everyone is on this list. And I apologize, it was such a great turnout that not everyone made the list with RSVPs. But you know who you are, and you know how grateful we are to you for everything you do every single day. So I've already mentioned Jimmy Morales. On behalf of Mayor Levine Cava, I mentioned our public safety person, deputy dog, deputy person, chief. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Freddie Ramirez. I mentioned our chairman. We also have our Miami Gardens mayor, Rodney Harris. He's the tall gentleman. Our Miami-Dade Police Interim Director, George Perez, who will be leading Metro-Dade Police Department. I know they know this, but I want you to know. They will be leading the law enforcement piece. We, of course, will all be assisting them, but we're really looking forward to that leadership. We have our Homeland Security Special Agent in Charge, Anthony Salisbury. Our U.S. Marshal, Gaddy Serralta. This is one of the best partners anyone in law enforcement can have. Gaddy, can you thank you for being here. Chief Renee Landa is also here. He's the president of our Dade Chiefs, also the chief of South Miami. Chief Armando Guzman from Miami Springs worked really good work with us in the hotels in Miami Springs. We also have Assistant U.S. Attorney Jessica Obanoff from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Christina Suarez is here. She's somewhere in the back, I believe, from the city of Coral Gables. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor Miriam Ramos. We have our Deputy Chief Derek Bowman from Pinecrest, and of course, Chief Dalmanol Pratt from Miami Gardens Chief, who's always standing by our side on all kinds of law enforcement efforts. We have Chief Raul Diaz, our Bay Harbor Island Police Department, Chief Jeanette Saint-Genet from the Medley Police Department. We have Suzette Rice as our partner at Crime Stoppers. I didn't see Dr. Brooke Bello, but she's always a partner with us. We have Yvonne Mesa, who does an incredible job. She's filming over there, but you should be up here, Yvonne. She is the director of the Miami-Dade Community Action Human Services Department. I also see Hilda from Camilla's House, who runs the Project Phoenix, our shelter for victims of human trafficking. Thank you for what you do. We have Maria Clark Harrington. Maria Clark, there you are, Maria Clara, from Citrus Health. We have Lynn Hernandez, big partner with us in the Florida Hotel Restaurant and Lodging Association. We have Alejandra Kennedy from the Department of Children and Families, the one and only Amanda Altman over here from Christie House, and also we have Global Initiative Foundation is represented here. And I have to take a moment of personal pride to introduce my team that works on this every single day, beginning with the director of my Human Trafficking Department, Alicia Priovalos. Alicia Priovalos, thank you for everything that you do every day. Jessica Costa, why are you hiding there in the back? You just have to make a grand entrance, is that it? Jessica Costa has been really key and instrumental in putting together this campaign, and thank you very much, Jessica. We have the lawyers, they're back there, just go like this. Jeff Pierce and Ashley Morales, assistant state attorneys in our office. And then we have Bobby Navarro, like this, Bobby. He heads our the Human Trafficking Law Enforcement Task Force that's made up of a lot of the chiefs that you see here. There's approximately 20 police departments, Bobby, more or less, that are represented on our task force. Oh, Albert, you made it. How nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank
It's an honor to be here with you and your team.
Thank you very much.
I admire and respect very much all of our hard work and dedication in your office and your community.
Thank you.
That's for the community.
Thank you very much. This is Albert Rodriguez. He's with the Spanish Broadcasting Systems, and we will be talking about you in just a few minutes. And you really have been a shining example of how the private sector can help all of us in the government sector do what we need to do to protect the people in our community. So thank you so much. So we can do what we can together, right? But we can't do it alone. We need everyone's help. We need the eyes and the ears of this community, and we need the assistance, not just of those of us in law enforcement, but the people, the working people, the people in the key industries that will interact with our tourists, hotel workers, managers and owners, restaurant workers, their managers and owners, airport workers, their managers, and other workers who keep our national and international passenger flow moving smoothly. Seaport workers and their managers, and other workers who also see thousands of people moving through our community every day. That is why today we are embarking, along with all of our community and governmental partners, on a month-long community-wide awareness campaign. about how to identify the many signs of trafficked individuals. So if you'd like, I'd like to call to your attention, these are some of the billboards that you have seen and will be seeing, hopefully, throughout this community. This one tells our friends coming from out of state that it's a crime in this community, in Florida. And if you get arrested for solicitation or something of that nature, being involved in any way in human trafficking, you could wake up one morning on a billboard yourself. The other one is, the other billboard is, it's not a fairy tale. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. These victims are real, and this business is real. It's about selling our children and our youth for money, selling sex for money. These were the billboards that were primarily utilized during our Super Bowl, and we felt that they were very illustrative of the issue, number one. Number two, they were actually designed, or at least the survivors, the victims themselves, had a lot of input on what they wanted to see up there that represents what happens to them. Now, due to the COVID-19 epidemic, there have been more employee turnovers than usual. You've heard it, the grand resignation. And that is why this awareness campaign focuses primarily on the key industries and the players that I just mentioned. They also will play a major and have a major opportunity to spot potential human trafficking. We recognize the need to educate people on how to identify and spot the signs of exploitation and provide a means of contacting our talented human trafficking team and our rapid response team that our chairman has seen firsthand when they see it. And this is what our volunteers are all going to be doing. If you look again now up at the screens, you'll see that we are going to have very graphic bus stops. You'll see there that QR code. I'm going to talk to you in just a minute. But we will have bus stops and billboards that will include the human trafficking hotline and the QR code that connects to that hotline. I want to thank all of our friends again, I just mentioned, at the Spanish Broadcasting System, particularly Raul Alecán Jr. and Albert Rodriguez that I just introduced you to, because they're supported us from the beginning. They have donated 17 billboards, and that includes the production for the actual space on the billboards to this awareness campaign. We also want to thank Outfront Media, who's donated some of this coverage as well, and the City of Miami for assisting us. They donated the digital bus stop benches throughout the City of Miami, including Bayside. That way we can get more and as much information out to the public. We also want to thank the City of Coral Gables, who have donated digital bus benches throughout the City of Coral Gables. And in partnership with Miami-Dade County, where we will have digital displays that will be out at the airport and the seaport. Again, I mentioned our partners at Crime Stoppers, and all of those folks will be assisting through their social media outlets, promoting this QR code and all these billboards. I want to say one thing about that hotline. After what we went through during the Super Bowl, everyone felt, across the board, survivors, victims, all of our community service providers, that one local 305 hotline number was much more responsive to what their needs were. So that's why we created this, and we continue to use that hotline. And let me just add before we go on, earlier today we were talking about the one billboard that SPS already put up on 27th Avenue and US 1. And we have gotten almost 20 phone calls a day. And we haven't even started, really, this campaign. So that just shows you the level of interest and or need that exists in our community. So our greater Miami community knows the importance of supporting each other. We've done this in the past. We are all committed to keeping all of our residents and our visitors safe. And our countywide volunteer list includes just all those that I mentioned, plus all of our partners, many of whom are represented here as part of our Human Trafficking Policy Institute. I also recognize that Deputy Assistant State Attorney of ours, Scott Dunn, who supervises Scott. I didn't see you back there. Thank you for what you do. This is all about working together, doing this initiative together about saving lives, saving futures, and potentially removing from the streets of our community these cold-hearted exploiters who dehumanize the lives of so many. Thank you all in the media for being here to help us launch this very important community-wide awareness campaign. And so with that, I'm going to ask our chairman, Jose Pepe Diaz, if he would please say a few words. Thank you. I'm going to step over here.
Thank you, State Attorney Kathy Rundle. Let me start out by saying thank you to you and your team and to law enforcement that surrounds us, but especially you. Many years ago, we got together, we saw a problem in our community, and you immediately acted, and you acted in a way that was incredible. You took the leadership and you dealt with a problem that is the worst problem probably in our society. It's the ugliest problem that exists. One that we do not want to have, that we all thought that was somewhere else, but not here in the United States, especially here in Miami. But it is. And the record of arrest and people that you have led to make sure that they are facing justice is incredible. So personally for me and Miami-Dade County and its residents, I want to say thank you publicly. This is not, as I said, an easy thing. I have seen it myself. I've been with arrests when this has happened, and I will tell you that it is the very worst of our society. Unfortunately, in an event that is the very best of our society, this is where this thrives. So in the last Super Bowl, when our State Attorney Kathy Rundle got a team together and worked with our law enforcement to make sure that this does not happen, but if it does happen, they're there to try to make sure they arrest and deal with the people that do this crime. Now that we have F1 finally coming to Miami-Dade County, thanks to a gentleman, Vinny Ventecourt, that on a phone call when he was in Cannes called me. He says, "You want to talk to these gentlemen?" And it's about F1. And today they're here, and we're going to have a race in May. So we're very proud of that. And we have this event. We live in paradise, ladies and gentlemen, and we're proud to live here, and we're honored to live here. But this kind of problem should not and will not exist in our community, thanks to the people around me. Thank you once again to all of you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jimmy Morales, Chief Operations Officer from Miami-Dade County, and as the State Attorney indicated, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava is traveling on business this week out of the country, business for the county, but she very much wanted me to be here, obviously on a critical issue like this, coming into another major event in our community. And I want to thank our State Attorney and my friend for allowing me to say a few words. I'm accompanied today, obviously, by our interim Chief of Public Safety, Freddie Ramirez, and I know our Airport Director, Ralph Gautier, is here, and I know they've been very involved in this issue for a long time. You know, obviously, Miami-Dade County is always proud to welcome millions of visitors every year from across the world. It's obviously a large part of our economy and a major part of our DNA. Sadly, our prominence and location as a tourism destination makes us a target for human trafficking activities. Across our county, as you've seen here, we speak with one voice to condemn human trafficking. We want to care for its survivors and aggressively pursue those who commit these heinous crimes. Human trafficking has no place in Miami-Dade County. If you commit these crimes, as you look around, we will find you and bring you to justice. And our local law enforcement are our most important asset in protecting everyone in our community. In Miami-Dade County, over 3,000 of our sworn personnel have received specialized training on how to identify and stop human trafficking. Our Miami-Dade Police Department has a specialized human trafficking squad within the Organized Crimes Bureau focused on investigating sex and labor trafficking in our county. But of course, we do not work alone. Rather, in tandem with law enforcement organizations at every level, and we receive specialized federal and other funding to empower these investigators. We are the lead law enforcement agency for the South Florida Human Trafficking Task Force, which includes the U.S. Attorney's Office, Homeland Security, the FBI, and the International Rescue Committee. We are also proud to work in collaboration with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office Task Force and other local and federal law enforcement agencies. And again, I'd like to take a special moment on behalf of the mayor and the entire community of Dade County to thank our state attorney for her partnership on this issue. Our shared efforts, and the critical words of our state attorney, shared efforts, collaborative efforts, increase our eyes and ears in the community and expand the impact of our efforts. In 2021, the county launched the Human Trafficking Educational Campaign to increase awareness and education on human trafficking directly to our residents. Thanks to the leaders of our leaders in tourism and hospitality, we are also getting the information to even more of those who might witness it firsthand. We've also partnered with large entities such as Florida Power and Light to train their staff on identifying human trafficking and how to report it to law enforcement. Obviously, ahead of this much anticipated, and I congratulate our chairman for bringing to us a Formula One race in Miami Gardens, we are ramping up both our educational and enforcement efforts. Already, we have completed trainings at the Port of Miami and Miami National Airport on how to identify potential human trafficking victims traveling into Miami for the event. Sadly, this is a pervasive issue and not one that can be dealt with simply or easily. That's why we are relying on our community partners and an all-encompassing approach to stamp out human trafficking and protect our most vulnerable. Together, we can protect our communities, our visitors, and enjoy this unique sporting event. Thank you on behalf of Mayor Katherine Cava for all that you do, and in the coming weeks, all that you will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George Perez, Director, Miami-Dade Police Department. First and foremost, we want to thank our wonderful collaboration with this powerful woman of this community. And it should be noted and said that this is a crime of compassion. This is a crime of opportunity. And it takes this particular month, in Women's History Month, these charges being led by powerful women in this community who are leading these collaborations with not only our state, not only with our local law enforcement, but as well with our federal and state partners as well. What this means, last year in 2021, I want to put a face on human trafficking. The Miami-Dade Police Department conducted 145 human trafficking investigations, of which resulted in 13 arrests. More importantly, 96 of those investigations involved juveniles, the most precious resource of this community. What you see here today, to the individuals who are engaged in this type of illegal activity, what you see here today, the message is, it will not be tolerated in Miami-Dade County. In Miami-Dade County, what you have is one voice, one collaborative law enforcement voice working together with its state leaders, its state partners, its government, ensuring that we are enriching our resources as a law enforcement community, and more importantly, as a community of Miami-Dade County, to ensure that those individuals know that we witness you, we see you, we will investigate you, and we will stop at no point from ensuring that we are providing the necessary resources to protect women and men of this community, because you said it. It not just involves human trafficking of sex, it also involves labor trafficking. And what's important is that this is a crime that occurs not only during Formula One, not only during major events, but it occurs 365 days a year. And so we're very appreciative of Formula One and the attention that this will bring for the next 10 years, but more importantly, for the attention and awareness that this will bring to our collective efforts as law enforcement, working together with our state partners and our federal resources as well. So thank you very much for bringing this matter to our attention, and the wonderful design of this billboard and the wonderful design of the QR code, because that messages the generation of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Director, very much for that. I just want to underscore something he said, because he really touched upon how successful we have been in this fight so far. And, you know, he talked about all the efforts that Metro-Dade Police Department's done, which is phenomenal job. And in addition to that, so because we all work together, we have done, just through our office with all the police departments, including Metro-Dade Police Department, we have been able to file over 771 human traffic related criminal cases in the last 8 to 10 years. Just think about that number. And that's just where we made criminal cases. That doesn't include those where we're not able to make a criminal case, and yet we've touched the victims. Let me also say something that the director said is so important to emphasize. These really are children. 35 to 40% of the cases, that large number I just gave you, are under the age of 18. They're minors. And then the other part, what we call the adults, they're aged between 14 and 24, Well, we know that when you're 24 years old, your brain, we know from the neuroscience, is not developed. You're really not an adult. So what's happening is between 14 and 24, those 10 years of precious lives are being taken and sold from them. So I just wanted to underscore what you said, because that was really an important message. Have a phone on them? Oh, come. Can you please, Sandra, you better have your people ready to answer the phone. Am I holding it all right? Okay, call it. Would you mind putting it on speaker?
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's see if it works. Here.
Human Trafficking Awareness.
Could you all hear that? To look for instance, unexplained injuries, forced to have sex with others by a person of trust, that's always a key. Exchanging sex for things, so you suddenly somebody's got money and rings and jewelry, different clothing. They're almost always isolated from their family and friends. That's part of the trick, is to isolate them. And that way they can control and manipulate them. They're very secretive about their relationships and where they've been. They hide their phone, they hide their text messages. They don't make at least ostensibly decisions on their own. So if you ask them, where are you going if you're at the airport? Where are you going? They don't really answer the question. He answers the question. Sometimes that we were talking, the director was talking about job, labor trafficking. Oftentimes they'll say they're coming to get a new job, but then they don't get paid, and that could be part of the labor trafficking. They don't always have a wallet or an ID or anything on their possession, other than that important cell phone, because it's telling them where they need to go, either to a hotel or what spot, right? They're almost always controlled with drugs. The way that they're manipulated and controlled is they're beaten, they're threatened, they're drugged, they're kicked, and they're isolated. And these are some of the things that you should be looking for. And then last but not least is unexplained hotel usage. We've had quite a lot of conversations, and in fact, Chief Guzman over there really helped us in Miami Springs with a couple of the hotels there, and you did a phenomenal job, you and your police department. And those hoteliers worked with us and helped us. But sometimes there's unexplained hotel receipts that, you as a parent, an aunt, an uncle, grandparent find. Those could all be clues that there's something that's amiss.